what's about, because there is sort of, if you like, a dichotomy between what these people are doing hidden away from everyone else, and sort of the issue of bringing out their illegality into the public domain, and thus running the risk of corrupting other people.
This is just a quick one to James's camera, because James has done the off. Look. Empty room.
Hold on. And this one goes out to James Hellyer. Running from living with the enemy who decide to run away. You understand? Scared of your armies.
Despite the disappearance of the guest of honour, Exodus go ahead with a planned party.
We don't want no hoorah Henry people around here.
James, who has spent the evening wrestling with his conscience in a Luton pub, resurfaces at a local hotel.
In many ways it's been a very hard decision, because of not only the fact I've sort of got to know the people, but I've accepted their hospitality. There's something that sticks in the throat about sort of having an evening meal with someone and then trotting off to the police afterwards. All that it takes for evil to triumph is for good men to stand idle. On this particular issue, I could see myself as the good man. It's quite simple. My intention is to go to the police station tomorrow and ask to speak to someone of inspector rank or above. I then intend to tell them what I've seen in the past week and what has happened, and then ask them quite simply what they intend to do about it.
The morning after the night before, and with James gone, Glenn is beginning to put two and two together.
I think you might well say to him, I think you've got a duty to arrest them. If you don't, I'm going to fill out a report and insist that you do, or something, you know what I mean? The reason I even think that that could happen, right, it'd be impossible to think he would do that, but the only reason I even give it an inch is because James, you know, lovely geezer and all that, but he's got this attitude which has been instilled into him, parliamentarian attitude, which is, I know what's good for you.
Before I came and accepted taking part in this programme, I perhaps hadn't thought it all the way through about how I would react in this situation. And in a way it's been a great testing ground for me about whether I do have the courage of my convictions. I'm sort of feeling nervous and there's and in a way a little very regretful that I've sort of found myself having to do this to these people. It's not something that makes me feel good. It's just something that I feel I have to do.
James spends 5 hours in the police station giving a detailed statement of everything he's witnessed. Back at Has Manor, concern is growing over the reasons for his disappearance, until later that afternoon when James agrees to meet Glenn to explain his actions.
You want to sit down?
No, I'd prefer to remain standing, I think. Obviously you've noticed, man, that I've left the Exodus community.
What have you done? What have you done at the police?
I've done what I believe is the right thing. The law can only work and do their job if the private citizens cooperate.
You've gone and made a report to the police and told them we smoke cannabis in there by statement, right? You've forced their hand, right? And on a moral tip, is it more moral to raid us at 6 in the morning and have what in any other circumstance, if they didn't have police on there, it would be called aggravated burglary? They come in, serious, you've never been raided, have you? They come in with sledgehammers, they come in with club hammers, they come in with, because they have to break doors down, they come with big, do you know what I mean? And that's what you've brought about. I'm telling you, I ain't joking. I ain't joking, James. I'm angry that you've confirmed that you have gone down the police station and you've put all of our homes under immediate threat.
you're the ones who've chosen to break the rules of society. You're the ones who've chosen to sort of live your life through the drugs.
James, you came here on an honourable agreement, right, to come into our home and to give your views at the end of the week. Right, you've come down here because you thought, yeah, man, I'm chair, debating society and all that. I can further my political aims here. I can come down with these wasted hippies and I'll take them apart. That's what you thought. And because it's not happening now, Adrian Rogers has taken a higher moral position than you did and said, I would arrest them straight away. So you felt, I'm letting the Tory side down here. I'm not being right-wing enough here. I'm not being moral enough here. And it's him was a catalyst for your decision, not my cannabis smoking. I was doing that the day you came. I was doing it when you knew, before you came, and during the time you were there. So don't tell me it's cannabis, James, because that comes over dishonest to me, right? If it was cannabis, you'd have done it from the off. But you're living with the enemy. I don't perceive you as the enemy, James. We're the enemy to you. You live with us, right? And I don't perceive you as the enemy now, even though you've just done one of the lowest things that I think you could have done. You've lived with us, and then you've took yourself out and gone to the police and forced them, right? Forced them into a position.
The police's job is to enforce the law. It's not their job to make it or interpret it.
It's their job to spread resources effectively and to keep the Queen's peace, to try and maintain community relations, to encourage things which they think will lead to crime reduction. All of those things is policing matters, right? You do with the police what you do with us. You don't credit them with the intelligence. You've come in, James, and you thought, the whole bill, Exodus, you don't know, I know best. And now you've forced our hand, right? So if it comes to lines with us, if it comes to battle lines with us now, I hope you read about it in the Daily Telegraph, mate, you know what I mean? And remember, yeah, man, put it on your CV, you know what I mean? It was nice meeting you, mate. It was nice meeting you. We learnt a lot from it. We learnt a lot from it. We learnt a lot about cloned MPs. You know, it's kind of like there's an MP factory somewhere, and they churn you out, and you come out with, like, you know, looking like you're 60 or something, and he's only 22 or whatever he is, you know what I mean?
Since getting back from the commune, I've been up to Exeter and attended a Conservative function with Dr. Rogers, and I was recently appointed youth director of his Family Focus organisation.
Before he came here, I said, I hope we don't get someone who's a career climber, right? Job seeker, not truth seeker. That's what James is.
I think that they'll make themselves believe that they won the arguments and that I lost, but so desperately wanted a political career that I wanted to turn myself into a hard man of the right and get right-wing street cred. Which is, of course, a silly view.
If you ask my kids what their dad does, they'd say he's a freedom fighter, right? And I think my kids will safely recognise the difference between wanton law-breaking and civil disobedience.
As a society, we're growing increasingly soft, and when faced with a problem, rather than dealing with it, we'd rather roll over and play dead and hope it goes away. And I hope soon that will change, or else we may all have to pay the price.
There's not a person here who wouldn't have him back. You know, there's not a person here who wouldn't invite him back to carry on, you know what I mean? Because the argument was well on the way to being won, we feel, and then James undermined himself, really, by, you know, waltzing out of here.
If you have a comment to make about tonight's programme, you can contribute to the BBC online forum at the Have Words website, www.bbc.co.uk/knowledge.